I won't give up till I watch 1,200 movies. I won't give up till I watch 1,200 films. But I get sleepy when I watch long-ass movies like Blade Runner. I won't give up till that record belongs to me. Okay, here we are on the 1,200 Films podcast on my quests, my pursuit, my expedition, my voyage, my hunt, my excursion, my pilgrimage to watch 1,200 films, to set the world record, and to review all of them here on YouTube. This week we got a new Harry Potter movie. We got not one, but two Medea movies. We got the Hercules starring The Rock, and we got a movie starring John Cena. So let's get started. Where are we? 201. My son, what have ye done? Directed by Werner Herzog. Starring William Dafoe and Michael Shannon, which must be his 6th or 7th appearance on this list now. Good grief. This movie was strange. Okay, so it starts with Willem Dafoe going to this house, and this guy has lost his marbles, Michael Shannon, and then throughout the movie you get kind of backstory of what's going on, and apparently he went to Peru, I guess, and he came back a strange individual, and he's shooting a gun off, and he's playing all this religious songs extra loud, and Willem Dafoe is the cop trying to talk him out of it, and boy, this movie. Werner Herzog makes some weird-ass movies. It's not as weird as Willem Dafoe's movie Antichrist, but it's kind of in that ballpark. You kind of have to suspend belief to get into it, but it's not bad. It's, out there, but not bad. 202 Every Day. An excellent, let me say this clearly, a family drama, not a drama for the family, but a drama about a family. This is not for kids. Liev Schreiber stars with Helen Hunt. Helen Hunt's been on a 20-year cold streak with me. She hasn't made a good movie since Twister, in my opinion, or As Good as It Gets, I guess was about the same time. And she finally pops out a good movie. Co-starred Ezra Miller, who I thought was excellent, and We Need to Talk About Kevin. If you haven't seen that, it's about what happens if your child is a psychopath. What do you do? Then also co-starred Brian Dennehy. And yes, Brian Dennehy is still alive. I just checked on Wikipedia. He's still kicking. It's a basic drama about what a family is going through. Each one's got their own little situation, and the marriage is falling apart, and the kids are... One's a teenager, one's about to be a teenager. They're all going through their stuff, but great ensemble cast. Good grief. This was well acted, well made, well produced, well directed. I recommend this, yep. 203, The Wall, not the Matt Damon Wall. This movie stars John Cena. You don't know a whole lot about John Cena. He's a pro wrestler that waves his hand in front of his face and says, "You can't see me. You can't see me. You can't see me." That's what he does. So, in this movie, he plays a sniper. He plays a character that you cannot see. You can't see him. What a stretch. But it's him and his little army buddy, who's the actual star of the movie, not Cena. The army buddy, I forget his name, but he's the kid from the Kick-Ass movies. He was also in the second Avengers, I believe. But they're staking out this wall in Iraq, I believe, and they think everyone around there is dead, but they think there might be some sniper hiding out, and so they go check it out, and apparently there is still a live sniper shooting at him, and it becomes a battle of the snipers, basically. But a very good film. But warning, I would not watch this with someone that's been in the army or any kind of armed forces. Just a warning. Trust me on this. I wouldn't lie to you. Just believe me. 204 Vendetta. Based on a true story set back in, I think, the early 1900s. Christopher Walken stars. It's about how the white businessmen in the New York area and the politicians tried to grab control away of the docks from the Italians. All the shipments coming off the docks, and then who has control of the docks gets control of the shipments, and they make the money, and blah, blah, blah. And then all the white businessmen said, screw that, we want some of that action. So they made a plot to kill the sheriff, who was kind of on neutral. He was kind of on the side of the Italians because it was fair, and they make a plot to kill the sheriff and set up the Italians to take the fall, and that'll get them out of the picture. That's about what basically happens from there. But very good movie. It's an old HBO movie. 205, We Think the World of You. I had just seen Gary Oldman win Best Actor, so I figured I'd go look for a Gary Oldman movie, and I found this. And you forget that he has a very thick, deep English, Irish accent, whatever the hell it is, but he's kind of hard to understand when he's just speaking normally. When he's acting, you can understand every word, but in older films where he's being himself, it's kind of hard to hear. But, basically, it's about Gary Oldman's going to jail for a while, and he's got a big dog, and his friend is kind of helping out with the dog, but Gary Oldman's parents are in charge of the dog, but his friend wants control of the dog because the parents aren't taking very good care of it. We kind of getting a toughie about that. Then Gary Oldman finally gets out of jail, but the friend still wants control of the dog because Gary Oldman's got all these other issues going on, but the dog is in the middle of every situation. Yeah, this is a serious film, but it's I don't know, wasn't that great. 206, Stormy Monday. Boy. Tommy Lee Jones, Melanie Griffiths, and Stinger Sting. Yeah, this was obviously not a recent film. This was, I think, late 80s, early 90s it must have been. I didn't check because it doesn't matter because this movie wasn't much. Basically, they're in, I believe, Warsaw, Poland, or that area, and they're all, Tommy Lee and Sting are both businessmen, and Tommy Lee is dirty, and Sting is a little dirty too, but he doesn't take any BS, and Melanie Griffith's just kind of living her life, and they all kind of get involved in each other's business, and Sting hasn't made any good movies. This movie, yeah, I wouldn't recommend this. 207, Wonder. Julia Roberts, Owen Wilson, parents to this kid that's a little disfigured, and he's going to school, and he has to go to school, and he's getting teased. After that first week of school, this kid should have been on suicide watch. Seriously, they should have had one parent stay home just to make sure this kid doesn't hang himself, because that first week was a little rough. But eventually he makes some friends, and he makes a few friends, and then eventually, it is a happy movie. But this kid's, as far as unattractive appearances, he's got nothing on Eric Stoltz from Mask. If you remember that movie's from the 80s, that guy had it bad. The kid from Wonder's got low ears, and looks like his skin was kind of tore off and then placed back on. It's not that bad, but you can tell, But Eric Stoltz and Mask had it bad. But, yep, not still, but a good movie. 208, 2307, Winter's Dream. Set in the year of 2307. It's a science fiction. Everything is frozen. It's set in Arizona, so of course, if Arizona is frozen, everything's frozen. But so people are living underground, and they have these bioengineered people that were supposed to do whatever, and they turned bad, and they ran away, and so they're leading a group to go after this bioengineered guy that's starting a rebellion. So of course they put a guy in charge of the mercenaries that OD'd about a week ago. Barely survived, but they fixed him up and put him in charge, and he's leading this group out into the tundra of Arizona. And they eventually find the bioengineer. This is all in the first half hour, so I'm not really giving away anything. But they find the guy, and he's doing nothing but ice fishing in a hole, just trying to catch little fish. And they start shooting at him, so he runs away, and they start attacking him, and things go from there. It's a B movie, but if you're in the mood for a mediocre science fiction, I guess it's all right. 209, here we go. Boo. A Madea Halloween. I was expecting a 0. No, honestly, I was expecting -5. And surprisingly, this movie was actually pretty funny. I will throw my arms up and willingly admit, ha ha ha, I laughed multiple times. I thought Madea was pretty funny, and I thought the old grandpa, was really funny. He was a hoot. So, but yeah, Madea was in probably 85% of the movie. It was centered around Madea and the family. And then I made the mistake. I figured if one Madea is good, I gotta find another one immediately and watch it ASAP. So that's what I did. Number 210, Tyler Perry, Madea goes to jail. Boy, was I let down here. Madea is in it for about 10 minutes total, and half that time she's talking with Dr. Phil. The side story was this woman's a prostitute, even though she's really smart, and this guy's trying to help her, but he's got a girlfriend or whatever on the side, and she starts getting jealous and yada yada yada. It's insufferable. So you have to kind of wade through waist-high deep in garbage and poo to get through a brief scene with Madea and get a few chuckles, and then it's back to the waist-deep garbage of bad side story. It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it at all. But I'll be watching more. But the Madea Goes to Jail was older, so I think it took them a while to get the formula right. But we'll see. I think Boo 2 is currently on its way, so we'll see. 211, Class of 1999. This was a science fiction made in 1990. Basically, everything's in a military state, and the cops won't go near the schools because the schools, all the kids are armed and dangerous, just like now. So they make these 3 robot teachers, Terminator-type teachers, to do some enforcement, I guess, to not take any garbage, and the kids get out of line, they get beat, and sometimes they get killed. And one of the teachers was Pam Grier, which I thought was an interesting casting. So basically things get out of hand, and the students rebel, and goes from there. Not bad. Not a bad late 80s, early 90s science fiction movie. It's kind of set in the time of The Running Man. If you ever seen that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, it kind of the setting kind of reminds me of. But anyway, 212, Hercules, starring The Rock, as he plays the son of the god Zeus. Although The Rock, as Hercules, admits that he is not really a god, he is just a mere mortal who needs a little help from his friends to help along with some of the battles. Ian McShane co-starred. This was fine. I don't know much else to say about it. It was a good little action film. The Rock was fine. So we've done a Cena movie, and we've done a Rock movie, so I figured, it's WrestleMania season. Let's do some more wrestling movies with wrestlers. So I found this movie. It's called The Bet, number 213. Stars Jake the Snake Roberts. Well, they didn't really star, but they were in it. Jake the Snake Roberts, Diamond Dallas Page, and Rowdy Piper. Diamond Dallas Page's kid, who's in his 30s, makes a big bet. He bets his house, basically, that he could sleep with 12 different girls from their middle school years that they all had crushes on, and it's got a couple laughs, but not a couple giggles, I guess. But other than that, it wasn't much. It's bad B-level acting, so I can't really recommend this. 214, another wrestler. I figured, why not Hulk Hogan? So I'd like to see if there's any Hulk movies I haven't seen, and I found this one. The Ultimate Weapon. And I say it was 214, yeah, 214 Ultimate Weapon. Hulk Hogan. He's this Army's solo specialist hitman, Navy SEAL type, and he's sent on special missions to do whatever, and he's sent on this special mission, and he finds out that he was actually working for the bad guy, so he says, that's baloney. I'm going to take out that bad guy because he made me work for the wrong side. But there is a new all-time great, awesome bad one-liners. Let's see. We've had from 50 Shades Darker, we had the "No, you're not putting that in my butt" line. And then that religious movie, what was that? The Remaining, that Christian movie I watched. When the people accepted Jesus, they were immediately killed violently by demons. I accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior. Ah! Now, this movie also had a great all-time line that deserved to be in that category. When Hulk's, I guess, mentor or whatever, his boss, his sergeant or whatever, the bad guys find him and they shoot him and he's dying, and Hulk's there holding his head and like, "Don't give up, brother, don't give up." And this sergeant or whatever is trying to tell him as much about the bad guys before he dies, and as he's dying, this is what he says: "Be careful. He's big. He's real big. Ah!" Yep. Great one-liner. Where are we? 215. A Kiss and a Promise. True story about a killer in Ontario who had a weird living situation. He opened up this bed and breakfast with his wife, who lived at the house. Then he also had a gay lover who also lived at the house. And go figure, the gay lover and the wife did not get along. I wonder why. But the guy would then go out and kill homeless or prostitute women for fun, I guess. And then he comes home and his wife is dead. And he assumes it was the gay lover, but the gay lover commits suicide, so no one really knows. But the police could not pin the deaths of the homeless women on him, but they wrongly, apparently, put the death of the wife on him just so they could arrest him, because they, wanted to get him for something. So they arrested him for that and put him away. Interesting story, not a great film. Nope. 216, an animation from the 80s called Fire and Ice. I don't know how to describe this movie. Okay, so you got this guy in charge of the ice, and he's expanding all the ice to take over the world, and the fire people are being wiped out, and the daughter, the princess of the king of the fire people, escapes capture, and then she meets up with one of the soldiers, and then they meet up with some dude with a puma on his head, as best I can describe it, and they go after the frozen guy. Yeah, it's PG. I don't know how it got through with a PG rating. That woman was wearing the bare minimum to cover her junk. I mean, minimum. It's basically 2 strings and like a little flap, and that's it. But it's not horrible. 217, Super Dark Times. These 4 friends are out. Well, before that, they raided the bedroom of one of their brothers who's off in the army, and they find a sword, an actual sword, and so the 4 of them are out in some field, and they're playing with it, and they wanted to get in a fight, and they start fighting over the sword, and of course one of them gets stabbed and dies, and so they decide to take the body in the forest. Well, he ran to the forest, but the body's out there, and they cover it with a few leaves, and then leave the body, and then they leave the sword down a hole, and they just kind of leave it and try to move on with their lives and forget about it, and that does not work. And the kid that did the accidental killing, he starts to go gradually crazy, and that's kind of where it picks up. But yep, not a bad dark drama. Super Dark Times, not bad. 218, Creep 2. Mark Duplass is back. I guess I should explain Creep 1. Creep 1, he hires this videographer to film him for a couple days, and he ends up killing him. Basically, that's what he does. And the sequel, he gets a female to do it, and she's got her own YouTube show, like moi, but a YouTube show where she called Encounters, where she meets strange men from wherever, and she films it and puts it on her show. And so she meets this guy who ends up being, who's a serial killer. And it goes in a different route than the first one. It's a little better than the first one, but when I say it's better, the first one's a 4, this one's a 5. So it's not really much better. 219, Intruder. Guess what this movie is about? Yep, it's about a little bird that goes through the forest. No, it's about an intruder. This chick's home for the weekend. She's eating her ice cream and doing whatever, and there's a guy in the house, and each time the guy is poking around in the back, he usually pokes from one room to the other while she's doing whatever, and whenever they do this, it plays this most cheesiest, awkward, scary, loud music, and it's so annoying. But it gets better, and then you're trying to figure out, it's got to be one of 3 guys that they've introduced in the film. It's one of the 3, and yeah. Interesting ending. I didn't expect that ending, though. But it's okay. 220, Cabin Fever, the 2016 version. Didn't they just make this, 7 years ago? They did make this, several years ago. I don't know why they need to redo it. It's the same movie. They get the skin disease, and they take the one chick out to the little shack, and she gets worse and worse and worse, and then the one chick shaving her legs, and she's shaving the skin off her legs because she's got a skin disease, and then it's the same one as the one before. I don't know why they need to remake it so fast. You should wait 20 years at least before you redo these movies. But if you like the last one, you can rewatch the last one, or you can watch this one. It's the same film. 221, Big Bear. This is not about a big bear. It's about the location, Big Bear. I guess it's a getaway resort, I guess. And these 4 friends are supposed to have their bachelor party, but the guy that was going to get married, the wife dumps him because she's having an affair. So one of the friends decides to go and kidnap the guy she's having the affair with and bring him to the party and torture him. I figured that'd be a good idea, something fun to do. But it's not really a horror. It's more of a comedy. It's not horrible. I got through it, I didn't hate it. 222, Jeff, Who Lives at Home. Jeff, played by Jason Segel. He's a big fan of the movie Signs, and he's basically a deadbeat, lives at home in his mom's basement, and he's 30, and he has to leave the house, and everything he sees, he thinks it is a sign for something, and means different things, and he sees this, so goes in that direction, then he goes in other direction, and he ends up hooking up with his brother, played by Ed Helms, who thinks his wife is cheating, so he kind of joins him for that little voyage of trying to figure out if his wife's hooking up in the hotels. And Susan Sarandon played the mother, and it also had Ray Dawn Chong, who I haven't seen since the 80s, and she looks pretty much the same. So it was nice to see her. But this film is not bad. It's got a few funny parts, but it's entertaining. 2:23, Sweetland. Just after World War II, this farmer gets a mail-order bride, kind of like Donald Trump did with, He gets a mail-order bride from Germany, which, as you can expect, went over like a fart in church. And the town is refusing to marry them, but they're still, kind of stuck together because she has nowhere else to go. So he's out living in the barn while she lives in the house, and they become friends and yada, yada, yada. Ned Beatty kind of played the evil banker trying to steal the farm from the brother of the guy that brought the mail-order bride in. And John Hurd played the pastor of the town. John Hurd just passed away. It's sad to hear that. He was a good little character actor. But this movie is very slow plodding film. 2:24, Seeds of Yesterday, the finale in the Flowers in the Attic series. This was a Lifetime movie. Boy, this was very soap opera-esque. There's so many dirty twists and turns and ridiculous things happening, and people getting backstabbed and then back together, then friends and then not friends, and then enemies for life, and I guess it's okay. I got through it. And finally, 2:25, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Very dark entry. This movie should have been called The Misadventures of Harry Potter and Dumbledore, because that's basically what it was. I see the ginger grew about 6 inches from the last film. Jeez. He's suddenly Andre the Giant, and he's huge. Harry Potter gets the notebook from the Half-Blood Prince, and you don't find out till the end who the Half-Blood Prince is, and he can make all these potions and yada, yada, yada. And it's just another entry. I don't think it was anything special, but it does set up nicely for the final 2 films, which I am looking forward to. Looking forward to it being over. But that's it, really. I don't have any idea what's coming in. I'm sure I'll watch the next 2 Harry Potters. The next Medea Boo 2 will be in. I might have Insidious in, maybe. Insidious the Last Key, I might have that in. Other than that, I have no clue. It'll all be a surprise for me and for you. I'll see you later.